What if Deku was a ghoul? Part 1. To start it off, Deku is a normal kid until at the age of 4 he discovers he's quirkless. Now Deku, he's just he's sad, but over time he learns to accept that he's quirkless and stuff. And his mom ends up trying to work harder so that for Deku, since he's quirkless. And during this time, Deku ends up meeting a kid named Hide who recently moved and had no friends. So Deku's like, I guess I could be your friend at least. Nobody really wants to be my friend, as he likes reading and stuff. But then at the age of 9, his mom dies from working herself to death, and he lives alone now. So Deku just lives alone and stuff. And so, to skip some time, I'm just going to say he is 14. And by the time he's 14, he actually meets the girl that he likes, and she somewhat likes her base. She is pretending to like him. So one day he said he could walk her back to her house. She's like, oh yeah, that's fine. And they take a dark alley. Now, in this dark alley, she stabs Deku through the chest, making his death painful, and making his somewhat death painful. And that's when this random guy in the shadows knocks down these pillars, collapsing on Rize. And that girl was named Rize, basically. If you guys haven't seen Tokyo Ghoul, I suggest watching it. And that guy was named, and she was Rize. So the police end up finding him and rushing this kid to the hospital. Since he has no parents, they immediately put him under surgery, and the girl already died, so they take some of her organs and replace Deku's organs with Rize's. And this causes Deku to become a half ghoul, half human. And Deku ends up walking home to his house, and he ends up seeing that Hide left him something, and he's like, oh, at least Hide left me something, so I don't have to make my food since I just got out of recovery and stuff. And basically, he eats it and immediately throws up. He's like, what the hell? This tastes so bland. It's so disgusting. As Deku's why can't? As he just keeps trying everything, and he's like, why can't I eat this stuff? Oh, I'm so hungry, and it's disgusting. So he basically throws a hoodie on and then just walks out, and he's looking at all of the people around, and he's hungry. He's like, all these people look so delicious, basically. And he just keeps one he just basically he's super hungry. I'm so hungry. It needs to get something to eat. As so he ends up going into a back alley because he smells something good, only to find a dead body, and he's horrified by it, and he's like, what the hell? What is that? As he sees another person, a ghoul, eating somebody. And he's like, as the guy basically throws him an arm, and he basically devours it, with his eyes flickering, with his left eye flickering on and off from ghoul to not ghoul, basically. He's like, it's so good. Why? What's happening to me? As this guy comes out and says, and kills the ghoul eating on my turf. Really. As Toka ends up coming out and says, really, you call this your turf? It's nobody's turf. We equals need to work together. As he looks at Toka in fear, because Toka basically just kicked the guy that just killed the guy that helped him. He's like, "What are you? Some type of half breed? You're not gonna survive that long around here with all these heroes running around." And basically, Deku's just like, "What the hell's happening to me? First I can eat human food, and now I can't. What the hell?" He's like, "Huh." As basically she knocks him out and takes him in, and that's when I'm not the owl. I think his name was. I don't think he really told his name in the anime, but he's like, he's the one who took Rize's organs after she died in that accident, isn't he? Like Tokoro kind of recognized him, and she's like, "What the hell?" So he's now a ghoul. And he hands the now conscious Deku a cup of coffee. And he's like, "It's just gonna taste gross." And then he says, "Over the past generations, ghouls have only been able to consume human meat and coffee." And he says, "If you ever need food, please come talk to us," as he hands him an envelope stuffed with human flesh. So he ends up walking home, and he ends up waking up in the middle of the night saying, "So hungry." And he just ends up going crazy as he grabs the thing and just fully destroys it, like eating it. So, like, he actually, like, is now a ghoul, basically. He's trying to hide it from the fact from Hide, his only friend, and Bakugo's bully, basically. Because, like, the heroes are there to defend against ghouls, as ghouls can't develop quirks. And Deku, like, he's quirkless. I think I mentioned that. And he actually, since he now is superhuman stuff, he actually enters into UA. So, we're at the start of the anime. Everything basically goes by normally, just with that one encounter and Deku going to pick up food from time to time. And he ends up, so we're in the classroom, and the teacher's like, "Oh, what am I kidding? You all want to become heroes." As they all, like, yell in excitement, and then Bakugo's like, "Teacher, don't lump me in with all of these extras." And he's like, "Oh, Midoriya, didn't you say you wanted to go to UA too?" And Bakugo's like, "That quirkless loser thinks he can get into UA. I'll see that. Never in a million years will I see that happen." And he's like, "Oh yeah, Hachan, you want to fight me?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do this." As Deku, so they're like, settle down. And then Bakugo's like, "After school." The bell rings, and it's after school now. And Bakugo flies at him, saying, "You're dead, Deku." And Deku is just like, so stupid, always rushing into battles. As Deku charges him head on, ducks down, and then when Bakugo fires an explosion, he's like flying. But he looks like super. Just imagine somebody laying down on their stomach. He's like that right over Azuki or Deku, and Deku just punches him right in the stomach, making him go flying in the air. He's like, "You really think you could beat me, being that cocky, you stupid idiot?" As he walks away with the now unconscious Bakugo in a crater on the playground. So Deku takes the shortcut to his house, only to be attacked by the Sludge Villain. And Deku's like, "Why does this keep happening to me?" As he just keeps walking, ignoring the Sludge Villain. The Sludge Villain's like, "Hey, come back here, kid. You'll be the perfect meat shield." As Deku just rolls his eyes and says, "I wish I could eat you." And he's like, "What was that?" And he's like, "Nothing. You're gonna die soon." And then he hears, no need to fear, for I am here. And just like he sees All Might jump right out of the crater, and then punches the Sludge Villain, killing him. Or not killing him, but like splattering him everywhere. And like normal Izuku would have been super happy to see this, but like Izuku's now just like kind of depressed because he can't eat like his favorite food and stuff anymore. Like he can't eat normal food, and he can only eat human flesh. So he's like, oh my, it looks so. Like he's just like contemplating, trying to. He wants to attack All Might, but he can't just because. But like his hunger is taking over him basically. So Deku ends up. Deku actually ends up. Deku. Deku. This says, "Oh hi, who are you again?" Like Deku, like used to love heroes, but ever since that day, he just doesn't really care anymore. He wants to become a hero, but he knows he can't, so he's just gonna enter UA trying to be, and then like he might end up turning on them. Like he just doesn't know. He's still contemplating because he just got turned into a ghoul like a month ago, so he's just like just doesn't know anything. Oh yeah, and Izuku actually went to the quirk doctor to say that he supposedly got a quirk called instinct, because ghoul things like heighten all of their instincts, like their sense of smell, speed, strength, basically. That's why I'm naming it instincts. So now Deku ends up just training his body. He doesn't train his Kagane. He ends up training his Kagane just a little bit after a while because he ended up figuring it out how to make it. And like around the end of the 10 months, Toka actually took him to Uda to get a mask made. And since he's a one-eyed ghoul, he does have the same mask as Kaneki. And his Kaneki, I'm going to say, is replaced by Deku. And like it's Tokyo Ghoul plus MHA in this timeline, but without Kaneki. So Deku ends up doing that, and Deku's like super strong. He's stronger than he's stronger than Bakugo pretty much, and he can easily beat him in a fight basically. So the UA entrance exam happens. So Deku's actually pretty smart. He ends up getting, I'm gonna say, right below Bakugo, and he's still like pretty high up. And now it's time for the practical exam. So Deku basically, just as soon as President Mike says go, Deku runs in, completely ignoring. He says go, and he just looks back like, why the hell is nobody moving? I know he said go. And then President Mike is like, what are you guys waiting there? Follow that kid. As Deku just keeps punching robots. And he just ends up robots keep attacking him, and he just ducks down, just punches each of them, like sending some kicks too. Like if you've ever seen Sanji from One Piece, like do those kicks where he like spins around. Imagine that, but like a little less talented. Because he's not as like talented as Sanji was, just because Sanji was like trained from when he was like 5. And Deku actually ends up getting like a really good chunk of points. So I'm gonna say like 130 or something, like 130 points. And that's when he hears like these huge stomps like coming down. He's like, what the hell could that be? So he just walks over, and he like walks over only to see this massive building, and he hears a girl yell, help, as Deku runs over to the girl, and he runs over to the girl, and basically he puts the robot's about to step on him, so his Kagane whips, like nobody sees it because of all the dust around, and since nobody sees it, Deku whips Deku's Kagane bursts out and drills a hole through the robot, as Uraka's already passed out, so he doesn't really care that she might see. And since the Kagane burst out. He tore a hole through the robot, and it stepped right on them. And the bro heroes looked on in shock that two kids just died, and but one of them was super strong. And that's when they hear the sound of flickering wire, and that's when the robot burst into flames as Deku had hopped right through its neck without anybody seeing and tore open the wires and fixing them together to cause a fire. And he ended up grabbing Uraraka after his Kagane depleted, he made his Kagane go away. And he grabbed Uraraka and took her to a recovery girl. And she's like, do you have something wrong with your eye? Why are you wearing that eye patch? And he was like, oh, no, it's fine. I just hit my eye a couple days ago. You don't have to heal it. And she's like, okay, fine. And that's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I'll do everything, like the hero versus villains and the first day test thing next episode. Maybe even the USJ if I have time. And I really hope you guys did enjoy this What If Deku Was a Ghoul Part 1. See ya, guys. Bye.